He hails the San Diego area. He's one of the best leaders down there and is growing a phenomenal business across the United States and other countries. And I want to thank everybody on the call today. So pay attention, get your journals out, and let's go to work, because he always delivers such a great message. The bigger picture, the one and only regional director, Mr. Julian Lewis.
Good morning, Mr. Thomas. Good morning, everyone. Excited to be on this call this morning. I wanted to let all of you know first and foremost, before I get started, that we are so honored to be able to have Mr. Thomas as a leader, as a friend, not only to myself, but to my organization. The wisdom that he has, the heart of gold, the real reason why he's consistent on these calls every single time is not because he has to, not because he knows as an SVP, this is what you're supposed to be doing. It's deeper than that. It's because he actually cares. And I appreciate everything that you stand for, the man that you are. And thank you so much. And ladies and gentlemen, good morning to all of you. I'm so excited to be on here this morning. We're going to be talking about something that's extremely important to everything that you do in business, everything that you do in life. And what we're going to be focusing on this morning is energy. Energy. So if you're taking notes, you want to write that down. We're going to be covering that. But before we get into that information, just to give you a little bit more about my background, prior to getting involved with this project, I was a senior systems engineer. I was working roughly 80 to 90 hours a week at my job. I was averaging 50 to 60 flights a year, which put me in a situation where I really didn't have a lot of time for myself or my family. But good fortune came my way. I was introduced to this project by my first mentor in this industry, who shared with me a system that allowed me to replace my six-figure income and enabled me to come home to my family. But most importantly, I was able to become the type of father that I felt my daughter deserved. And I'm going to tell you something about that a little bit towards the end of the call. But what I want to talk about, again, we're talking about energy this morning. And the reason being is because I didn't know how important energy was. And so if you really think about it, energy is all around us. But oftentimes the way we show up isn't as energized or energetic as we want to. And I know some of you can agree. Sometimes we just show up, we wake up, and we go into the day however it is we get out of the bed. And sometimes it's exhausting to get out day by day and do the things today that are going to get you the results that you want tomorrow, because we want them now. And I know a lot of us, we understand delayed gratification, and that's a real thing. But in order to get the results tomorrow, we need to show up with the energy today. Imagine if you had the most incredible individual that would have gone to senior vice president in your organization, but because you didn't connect with that individual with the right energy, it felt like things were off. Imagine if you could have had one of the biggest impacts on one of your newest business partners, but because you didn't bring forth the right energy to their presentation, it didn't land the way you really wanted it to land. And if you guys realize that a lot of times it's not what we say that really impacts people, it's how we say it. When you're excited, I remember Mr. MD Rahman, when he did the call a couple of weeks back, he said, while everyone was on the cruise, he was focusing on getting to be number one RVP. I don't know if you knew that, Mr. Thomas, but he said, I'm going to make it happen while everyone is relaxing. I'm going to be peaking, presenting, and getting people promoted. And he talked about his goals. But what he really talked about is the fact that he had a strong accent when he came to this country. And he said, even today, people don't necessarily understand the words that he's saying because of his accent. But they know, they can feel his excitement. They can feel his energy. And when you can get across that feeling, people are more inclined to focus on what you're doing and follow where you're going. And so we already know we have a great opportunity. I mean, Truby just launched for everyone. I know people are excited to get back out there and travel. There's so many things that are happening right now with the company. But none of that matters if you don't show up with energy. None of that matters if you don't show up intentional. See, I realized a long time ago, I remember my first mentor saying, Julian, you want to make sure that before you get in front of the room, before you make a phone call, do something to get hyped up. Do some jumping jacks. Get excited. Get motivated. Don't be fake, but create an intentional energy so that when you speak to the individual that you want to connect with, you come across different. See, most people are used to uncertainty. They're used to people showing up with low energy, low vibration. They're used to people showing up average, ordinary. What makes you stand out from the rest is your energy. And it's something that every single one of us can do. One of the first things that my mentor shared with me when we didn't have video calls, we just had regular calls. He said, one of the things you can do is you can learn how to smile while you're speaking. And for a lot of people, they think, oh, you know what, that sounds strange. Why would you smile while you're speaking? They can't see you over the phone. No, but we pick up the cues of what smiling sounds like when someone's talking, and we can connect with and feel that energy before we understand what it is. We may not even know that the smile on their face is happening while they're talking, but we can feel the energy shift, and that allows us to feel more comfortable with that person. Have you ever met someone and you didn't know why you liked them? It wasn't what they said. They didn't say anything crazy, or they didn't say anything profound or intelligent or articulate, but you just like them. And you say, I can't put my finger on it, but I know they just have good energy. On the other hand, have you ever met someone and even before they opened their mouth, you didn't want to hear anything they said because you just felt that they didn't have the best energy? So energy is key. And so if it is so important the way you show up, if it's so important to make sure that you have great energy, then what are some of the things that we can do? One of the first things that we can do is get enough rest. I know this is going to sound interesting to some of you. I know some people focus on the work, we sleep when we die mindset. And that's great. And you can continue to do that. But you're not producing because of that mindset. You're actually producing despite having that mindset. And here's what I mean. Anyone who's in top performance understands that in order to operate at the most optimal energy, you need to have a great rest ratio to your work. Even when it comes to performance cars, if you ever watch performance cars race around the track, they can go and go and go and go, and they might be all right. But what they do is they do a check. It's called a pit stop to check and make sure that everything's good to keep them focused with the same energy. And the top performers in every industry when it comes to work, what research has found is that the highest performers actually take more breaks than the average person. So why am I telling you this? Well, I'm telling you is because if you can incorporate a break in your work schedule, if you can incorporate a break in your calls and it's planned, you can reset, recalibrate, and refresh and show up more with the right energy. See, someone who works 4 hours and takes a 10 to 15 minute break at the end of each hour is going to outproduce someone who goes through the entire 60 minutes every single one of those 4 hours. Research has proven it. I highly recommend it. Get focused on it. What's another way of making sure you have the best energy when you show up? Get enough rest at night. See, you might be operating on 4 or 5 hours of sleep, and that's fine. And the thing is, you might even tell yourself that the reason being is because you need to get up early. Trust me when I tell you, I understand. I get up extremely early, but in order to get up early, I need to be responsible and understand that I need to get to bed earlier so that I can be as fresh as possible. And the other part of this is this: understanding when to do the hard tasks. You may have heard some of the thought leaders and nowadays saying, you want to do the hard tasks first or earlier in your day. And they're absolutely right. Studies have shown and proven that the people that do the hard work in the beginning of the day actually are able to get more done with more energy than when they try to do those same tasks at the end of the day. In fact, as we go on through our day, we get a little more tired, and become more sloppy, and we become a little bit more lazy on the tasks that are important to us. So another part of bringing great energy is to make sure that the harder things that you have to do during the day, the harder thing might be to get your customers knocked out. The harder thing for you might be to call your list for your grand opening. Whatever it is, you want to get that done as early in the day as possible so that you can get it done with the right energy. And for those of you that say, well, you know what? I work part-time in ACN and I have to do ACN in the end of the day. How can I get my energy up? Take a nap. Listen, I know that sounds crazy. And for people that are top performers, we sometimes believe that taking a nap is cheating. Taking a nap means you're not serious. No, taking a nap means you're extremely serious. It allows you to refresh and get back to whatever the task is you need to get to. So if you work and then you finish up your workday and then you go into your business, then what you want to do is start deciding that you're going to take a 15-minute nap or a 20-minute nap to refresh. Set the alarm. And I highly recommend Mel Robbins' 5-4-3-2-1 5-second rule method to get up and out of the bed or wherever you're napping so that you can get immediately into the work, so that you don't get stuck hitting the snooze button and getting too much sleep and actually being groggy. So that's one of the things that I've done when I know that I have to wake up early and I haven't gotten enough sleep. Waking up at 4:30 in the morning, but going to bed at 12 doesn't give me a reason to wake up later. It just gives me a reason to take a nap so that I can be refreshed in the middle of the day. And you want to give yourself permission to rest. Rest, if you look at the physical body, is the reason why your muscles can grow when you tear them down when working out. The correct ratio of rest allows you to refresh your muscles so that you can continue to go. Rest enables you to get clear and concise and focused. And when you're fatigued, a lot of people, like I mentioned last week, feel that they've lost motivation. And the truth is, they didn't lose. You don't lose motivation. You get fatigued under the weight of your exhaustion. And so if you can understand that, and rest allows you to increase your energy, why wouldn't you use that as an X factor to get you to where you want to go? So with that being said, my question to you is, what type of energy are you bringing to this project? What type of energy are you intentionally bringing to the conversations that you're having with people surrounding this business? What type of energy do you bring to the table when you ask someone to do you a huge favor? Do you even think about what type of energy you may be bringing? Or are you on autopilot? Because if you're on autopilot, there's a good chance that you may be showing up by default in a way that is actually repelling business versus attracting business. And so if you can start to get focused and get intentional about that, you can just change practically everything. People will be drawn to you. People will say, you know what, I like that guy or gal because there's something about them that feels good. They just have great energy. And if you're not a person that people say that about often, the good news is you can decide to curate the type of life that you want today moving forward. You can start with just 1 to 3 things changing right away. It might be to start to wake up with intention in the day. You can utilize certain indicators to trigger how you want to react when you go into certain situations. For instance, every single one of us, when we come home or when we leave the house, we go through a doorway. Mr. Thomas, when we used to do Saturday trainings in person every single Saturday, what I would do is every time I would enter that threshold, that doorway, I would tell myself, game on. It's time to get moving. And so by saying game on, all of a sudden I had a different energy in the room. It allowed me to put anything aside that didn't serve me in the business and focus 100% on being present. But I did that transition by telling myself that every time I went through that doorway. You can do the exact same thing. You might be working at home, but every time you enter the threshold or the doorway of your office, it's game on. You're intentionally shifting your energy so that you can attract more, you can become more, and in fact, you can build more with your business. So I know today I just wanted to make it real brief. I said at the end, I was going to touch in on a little secret. See, as exciting as it is being home and being able to have been home with my daughter ever since she was little, today is special because we're actually going on some college tours. And because of that, I'm not with you right now. I mean, I am with you, but I'm with you through recording because we're going through a huge part of my daughter's life, and I'm so excited for her. And you better believe that I got some rest last night, and you better believe that I brought forth the right energy so that I can create an impact and be intentional with how I want to show up for my daughter on this special day. So I just wanted to share that with all of you. Do me a favor, send me a message. Let me know if this impacted you. And remember to smile more. People can feel it. And smiling, it affects the mirror neurons that allow people to start to smile. Your smile plants a smile on their face more times than not, whether you know it or not, even when it's over the phone and they can't see the smile on your beautiful face. So start smiling more, start showing up with the energy that you want to see in the world, and watch how infectious it becomes. I look forward to seeing each and every single one of you next Tuesday. We're going to be breaking down another important topic that's going to help you with the business. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I want to pass the call back over to you, Mr. Thomas. Again, thank you for everything that you've done in my life, the wisdom, the advice that you've given me. And I can't wait to see each and every single one of you over the top. Mr. Thomas, I'll turn the call back over to you, sir.